Welcome everybody to the After Dark Show. I'm Don Rogers. Tonight's episode is going to be really interesting. My first, she's actually my co-host. I was going to say guest, but no, she's my co-host in this one, is a former guest. She's been on the show twice, Michelle Whitney, and she's actually the one who brought this guest to my attention, and he's just an absolutely fascinating guest. But first, I'm going to bring Michelle on, and we'll do a little back and forth and some chit-chat and see how she's doing. Michelle, thank you for coming back. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday. How are you?
I am great. And I do have to say, I want to thank you because I don't know how, but tonight's guest had actually flown under my radar until you brought him to my attention. And he just an amazing author and public speaker. And well, we'll get into that when I do his introduction. But so tonight's guest is Brad Olsen. He is an award-winning author, publisher, and outdoor event producer. He gained notoriety in 2010 when his travel guide, Sacred Places North America, 108 Destinations, won the Bay Area's Travel Writers Top Gold Prize Award. He has written 11 books to date, including 4 in the Esoteric Series. He's been on Ancient Aliens, he's been on Coast to Coast AM, and many other public speaking events, and he was actually at Full Disclosure Now. So without any further ado, he's popped off screen, but I'm sure he'll be right back. Welcome to the show, Brad. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, Don and Michelle, it's great to be here. Thanks for taking the time, and we're going to have a great conversation. I just have to say, it looks like my internet's a little spotty because we're getting a major storm rolling through. Not sure if that's affecting the cell towers around here, but we'll just try to do it the best we can.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of it here too, and there's been a lot of interesting, strange weather. I had a friend from a couple provinces over. He came out and he came to the Calgary Stampede, and he got to witness a weather event, and he's like, it was crazy. It was like beautiful day out, and then a storm hit, and he is not in the same fields we are. And I went, gee, I know it sounds like a crazy conspiracy theory, but I almost swear that was weather modification, and this is a normal person. And he's like, I 1,000% agree with you. And it's like, it's getting that obvious that they're messing with their little toys. So
it is getting that obvious, and I'm glad you brought that up, Don, because it's not even a conspiracy theory anymore. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said it's DARPA doing it down here in the States, probably up with you guys too. And the Air Force came out with a report back in the late 90s, which said that they would be able to control the world's weather by 2025. And here we are. So it's all controlled at this point.
Like I've watched some of the footage of the flooding in Texas, and it is just insane. Like just entire towns disappearing in moment. Well, I know the footage is sped up a bit, but it's like just gone. Like it's just this strange phenomenon, but it's not a phenomenon. It's them. It's they're playing with their little toys.
Yeah. When you factor in, there's also depopulation agenda, much more into the picture that this is not being done for the benefit of human.
No.
Florida ever again. They're coming in at the hottest and windiest and dense hurricane that they've ever had. And then they park them over North Carolina like last September with Hurricane Helene, and it's a great loss of life. So it's not being done with humanity in mind. In fact, it's an anti-human depopulation agenda.
I 100% agree with everything. Yeah, it really is. Like, we are the carbon that they want to reduce, basically. Like,
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
unfortunately, I actually did a presentation on the powers that be, all the licenses that had been handed out, and the world patents. And I found patents that have been in effect for a long time that have to do with using the weather to control crowds. But not only that, the satellites to do mood suppression, to reprogram the brain waves. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So it's nice to hear other people finally say it's not a conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact. And the sooner that people are willing to face the music about this, the sooner that we can, exercise our authority and take it back, all this power that they've run rampant with.
Yeah. That's a good point, Michelle. And I'll just point out to your listeners that Esoteric, I have chapter all for a couple years now, but the new second and quite evident and clear when you look at the patents and all the other
wow, he must have been about to say
weather patterns a little more.
You got cut off at
here
weather.
When you watch the weather pattern more closely, you can see more of the geoengineering feature, like the of the clouds. That means when it looks like the bottom of the ocean with little ripples up in the sky, that means they're using the HARP weapons, and that's what actually steers the cloud. So they'll lay down the chemtrails and then hit it with the HARP array and the NEXRAD towers. And then it's like a microwave cooking the upper atmosphere, and it can create vacuums in the weather. It's actually quite logical and very doable when you think about it and read the patents. But they've just not taken the time to tell the human race what they're up to.
Yeah. I've been looking into that. I'm nosy, so I went digging for patents, and I mean, I found, I'm sad to say, hundreds of them, but I've said the infrastructure is in place. The patents have been being utilized. The research has been done. They're just waiting for the next big false flag to usher in people begging the government to save them. And that's when they're going to put everybody into these 15-minute cities. That's just, I mean, all I can think of is Hunger Games, right? We're all going to be in districts. And, one of the worst ones I found was that they are going to arrest people before they ever even give any sign of committing a crime, just based off of a spike in the brainwave. And they're looking at this as a good thing. And to me, I'm not thinking of these are people that are going to commit crimes. These are people that are going to realize that they're under oppression, like George Orwell talked about, and they're going to be rebelling, and they're going to be up against AI drones and not even humans anymore, right? They're going to have it all simulated.
Yeah.
Very dystopian future they got planned for us. But what you said before, Michelle, rings true, and that is we're in a race against time, and we just have to wake up, and people have to realize what's going on. I mean, we're kind of in a self-defense mode right now. They're hitting us in so many different ways, from tainting the food supply to fluoride in the water to chemtrails in the sky. And I mean, it's air, land, and water now. They're getting us in every possible way. GMOs and poison in the food with the food dyes. It's just ridiculous. So it behooves everybody to pay attention here, because your life could very well be dependent on it, or at least your well-being and your health, because they're getting it into our bodies in many different ways. And another chapter I have in Beyond Esoteric is about the Morgellon nanobots that are appearing everywhere around the world, even in animals. So it's now become a syndrome that is, when it goes worldwide, it's more than just a disease. It's taking place everywhere, especially in those countries where they do heavy chemtrail spraying: Western Europe, US and Canada, Australia, New Zealand. But not every country does spray. And I travel quite a bit internationally as well. I was just in Malaysia earlier this year, and Laos and Southeast Asia a year ago. And you don't see chemtrailing in a lot of these poorer countries. It's really a Western phenomenon, is where they spray the heaviest.
Yeah, it's just devastating. I grew up in San Diego, and I used to say that the only weather condition they had there was traffic. But, if you spend half your life on the 5 freeway, you're from California. But they had like a blizzard or an ice storm. I think it was Santa Monica. It was one of those beach cities. And I mean, you should have seen the people driving on the coast highway with the ice. And I left Oklahoma. That's where ice storms are supposed to be at. And I was like, oh my gosh, these people are freaking out. They can't drive in rain, let alone the ice storms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. The other thing that I think is really disconcerting is, and I was just talking about Morgellons last night, is, you get diagnosed with that, they send you off to a psychiatrist and basically mark you down like you're mentally incapacitated, when really we know that that's an infiltration of our immune system, and there's a whole, to do with the medical community and writing people off like they are not in touch with their bodies, like they're imagining these things.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not imagined. It's very real. And there's a test everybody can do using red wine or dark tannin grape juice. And that is, you hold it in your mouth for about 8 or 9 minutes and then spit it out on a tray. And I've done this with, 3 dozen people. Every single person has these fibers that come out. So the red wine, it just draws them out of your soft tissue in your cheeks and your throat. And you'll just have to see what you spit out. And sometimes you can drain out the wine and then just keep your fibers in a dish and then add a little rubbing alcohol. 1 out of 5 times those things start squirming around. So they're live, but they're artificial life. And this is what a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around, is that we have now been introduced with a form of synthetic life that, like any life, it's trying to survive. It wants to find its way and stay alive, just like any parasite in your body will stay alive as long as you're feeding it and you can deal with it. But the Morgellons is harder because it is the synthetic life and it creates these fibers. So the nanobots will self-assemble once they're in your stomach, and then so first you breathe them in. A lot of times people are getting tainted with Morgellons from the chemtrail, but also from the wackadoodle thing, and also from food supply, as well as medical supplies have been shown to have these nanobots. And then so once they're in your body, they will start to self-assemble and then move through your blood circuit system. And then eventually the body will try through the skin.
It's getting good.
Yeah, I know. We're doing good. It's okay. This is how it is in my house. Every time the wind blows, the weather causes the power to go out and the internet. We're patient people, though.
No, actually, Diana, that's in the chat, almost has internet issues a lot. And I've talked to her so many times. It's now I just kind of hold space for her. Like when her internet freezes, I'll remember the last 3 words that she says. And it's like, you were here, and they can pick it back up. So it happens when you try to do these types of shows and bring out this type of information. It could be weather, certainly, absolutely. But we also know that certain members in this community are heavily watched, heavily monitored. I've showed people videos. I have a freaking helicopter that follows me around the city of Calgary while I drive a septic truck, of all things. Like, that's my 9-to-5 job. They will follow me around. They were searchlighting me in broad daylight the other day. I have the video of it. And I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. Like, do you know what a waste of money this is? Do you want to watch me clean poop? Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not up to anything. Piss off.
Right? Brad's internet came back at the great. I don't know if Brad has heard about Renetta yet. I know that he did shows with Renetta too.
Oh, did he freeze up again?
Yeah, I've given it a moment.
Yeah.
This is the charade episode.
Yes.
The strike a pose.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are holding so still on the camera, I can't tell if they're frozen or not.
Oh, he moved again.
I just want to make sure Brad's safe, that he's not getting a tornado warning or anything like that. I don't know where he's at.
Just about. I just was out and about, and it came over on the radio and said that there is a severe weather alert. More up in Lake Tahoe, but it's blowing out here pretty hard.
Yeah, I saw a video of Lake Tahoe get turned into an ocean. I used to go there for spring break all the time. It was never like that. That is insane.
Yeah.
You go surfing.
It's very
on
dangerous
Lake
if
Tahoe
you get caught out on the lake in one of these storms. In fact, there was just a tech exec family only a few weeks ago, and a high wind storm kicked in up at Lake Tahoe, capsized their boat. and all 8 of them drowned and died.
Jeez.
It's quite a tragedy.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. You know, that was the other thing I wanted to tell you. I don't know if you'd heard about this or not. I know that you had done shows with Renetta Jones, who was a near and dear friend of mine, and she passed away in April. And those of us that were close to her, we believe that it was targeting of what I call the Mountain Dews, so we don't get flagged. But within a matter of 3 weeks, they did to her what happened to Stephen Greer, what he described in one of his documentaries, where him and 2 of his friends were targeted with high frequency, and within a matter of weeks, his friends had high advanced stages of cancer and they had passed, but he was able to recover and not, he wasn't taken out by it. But we do believe that's what happened to her.
Yeah, I was of the same, like, she never once mentioned being sick to me at all. And I spoke to her quite a bit. She was planning on coming out here to look at some of the formations of the rock structure out here. And yeah, it was a shock.
I think he's frozen.
Oh dear.
I feel so bad. I'm really worried about where he's at.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put him in any danger just for the show. Like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah, I don't know if, like, because this is how my internet gets when it starts getting bad. And
yeah.
Hi, Derek.
Yeah, there's Derek.
Derek posts videos all the time of drones and all kinds of weird stuff. You know, I was going to say that helicopter that's following you, they should stop and give you a ride at least if they're going to follow you around. You should be able to take advantage of the benefits, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's funny now. Like, I know they can listen to your phone and I know what they're doing. So, like, I'm just like, right? Like, leave me alone. Like, I'm just cleaning toilets. Like, what are you doing?
It's crazy what they do to people. I'm like, I have a friend who's in the chat. I'm not trying to call her out, but she has a certain type of DNA and she knows that they've made over 1,000 alters or clones of her. You know, it's just, I'd like to say that I'm used to it, but it never does cease to blow my mind that they can take it so far, you know?
Oh,
but I also think at the same time, though, we must be very powerful and we must be very destined to do something or take them down because they have to be so secretive and manipulative and in the parts of the light spectrum that we're normally blind to seeing. So I feel them. I can feel the energy, but I'm going blind. So I always say my spiritual eyes are strong, but not these ones. These ones are blind as a bat almost.
Well, and Steven Stathis over at BG Cast, he actually had to put his phone onto like airplane mode because they targeted his phone for like over an hour. It was just one call after another, and it was Luge Harvest, right?
Yeah.
Even the simplest things will frustrate you to the point where he actually was talking about this. He produced something called Dukkha, and it's Luge, right? And the entities in the fourth density can actually have some type of sustenance off of this. So if they know like you're a high energy being and they can get you frustrated, that's like getting an angel to say the F word in comparison, right? Like you get somebody who's trying to live from a place of pure intention and being their authentic self, and you get them pissed off throwing things around or swearing at their telephone. Well, you've automatically changed their entire frequency and now they're getting the good stuff and you don't even know you're feeding them, right? So it's insane.
Yeah, Stephen told that he actually was on my show. I think you were there. I think you saw part of it at least on Monday. Yeah. Stephen was nice enough to come on and spend 2 hours with me. And I just was fascinated. He's a very good speaker. I was really impressed. I knew it was going to be a good show. It was far better than I could have ever imagined. And he told that story. And I was just like, man, all those times I'm getting those potential spams or, you know, I always joke, it must be someone calling about that extended car warranty that's about to expire. You know, they're trying to desperately get it today. I don't have an extended car warranty, but man, they're like ridiculous with it, right? Like, I mean, you can get a restraining order for stalking for less than that.
Oh, it really does get insane. And since we're on the subject, wow, my ear just started ringing. Since we're on the subject and we're waiting for Brad, I don't know, like, if he can't come back, we'll just reschedule this and figure it out because I don't want to put him I don't want him to put himself in danger for a friggin' podcast either.
Yeah.
But I've told this story on my show before. They know everything that people of interest do right down to the minute. They know when I leave for work. They know when my wife gets home. They know when we generally grocery shop. They know everything, and they'll send little people out to interfere with you. I went outside unexpectedly the one day and caught an agent at the end of my laneway like this. And I'm like, hey. And he's like, uh, 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 and like just completely flabbergasted. And he just goes into the, like, he's just dressed like a dude, right? He goes into this spiel, reaches into like a satchel. And I guess this is their defense mechanism because most people are supposed to be dumb enough to fall for this. He holds up like a laminated picture of a Brink. And he's like, hi, I'm from Brink Security. I'm like, first of all, dumbass, do you think I'm that stupid to believe that a laminated photo of a fucking truck is identification? And second, when he puts his hands out, his sleeves roll up and he's tattooed all the way down with military tattoos. Hello, CSIS agent. CSIS is our CIA in Canada. Like, do you think I'm that fucking stupid to not realize who you are? Right? And he's just like, I actually think he had an MK Ultra program that he had to get through because I kept cutting him off once he was caught. He's like, and I'd say something and he'd just go back to where he was. And I go, and he had to finish. He was triggered. He was programmed. He had to finish what he was told to do to try and get out of the situation. And he had to run his spiel. And then he almost looked confused and angry, walked over to the other corner of my laneway and like picked up his phone and started touching at his phone again. Like, didn't even go out of my view completely. Just stayed at the end of the laneway, just past the fence line, and went back to his phone. And I was like, wow, you're an agent and you're programmed and you don't even like.
Wow.
It was insane to be a part. Like, I came in and I told Kyle about it. I'm like, you're not going to believe what happened. And then the car drives away. Right. And it's like, yeah,
that's crazy. I believe you. It's like I watch the Matrix movies all the time. I love those, but like it's like the third movie with Agent Smith, right, where he's all duplicated and he starts like glitching and he's like, you know what I mean? He's not running through his like his simulation like he's supposed to. And I'm sure that even the people they send to target us, people, I'm sure what you just said, they are MK Ultra. I'm sure that the handler has a handler.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like they use frequency and everything to agitate certain people and then reward certain behaviors. There's subliminal programming in almost everything we experience in our sociological experience here on Earth. And like they will go to the extent where, like, say you have a terrible day and you're mean to like 6 or 7 people, but then all of a sudden you go get your mail and there'll be an unexpected gift card. And now, subconsciously, your mind has gotten that slight dopamine hit after you've done terrible things to other people or felt a certain way about other people and humanity, right? And it makes you go, well, if I just act like this, I'm going to get rewarded. It's a subconscious program. And it's right from the micro to the macro about almost everything we experience in society is pre-programmed and interfered with at some point. That's why they call it the construct, right? I know we're way the hell off topic here, but Brad's kind
you're
of
doing good. There's so much you're making my brain think about. So please continue.
But no, like even like as far as like the people that they put into our paths to make us interact with, like, you know, my wife got hit in November, like broadsided, and the guy's behavior made absolutely no sense because we think he was just like MK'd altered as well because he hit one car, drove across 2 lanes of traffic with a stop sign that was set 15 feet back from the corner and hit a Dodge Ram hard enough to put it in the ditch and write it off. But he hit one car and like didn't even slow down when he hit the first car. Right? Like she was literally targeted
You know, it's so strange. I just thought about my first car accident, which happened when I was in high school. So I only had to go to 4 hours in the morning, and then I was off for my full-time job in the afternoon. And that morning, the newspaper said under my horoscope, today's not a good day to drive. The car behind me got rear-ended by a tow truck going 60 miles an hour. He never got off his cell phone the entire time.
Yeah.
Like, yay, you're back. Are you sure you're safe where you're at? Because we do not want you to risk sitting there in the middle of a crazy storm for a podcast. We just want to make sure you're okay, Brad.
Well, I'm okay. If
Okay.
anything, I'll just get taken up like the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy and just fly up to you guys in Alberta. And
that's how I got my car when a house fell on my sister. It's my broom.
Holy shit.
I say that all the time and no one ever laughs. Thank you for laughing.
I thought it was funny. I do want to introduce you to the audience as well, Brad, for the listeners that don't know, because it wasn't until Michelle that introduced me to you that you showed up on my radar. So I just want to start with a really basic question, is like, what got you interested in writing, period? Like, is it something you've always enjoyed? And what led you to getting into the esoteric and the other areas that you're covering in your new work?
Yeah, it's really what I'm interested in, that I'm always reading about and collecting information about, and putting together in these big volumes. And some of my esoteric books have been reprinted in this one in Bulgarian, but they did a really good job of putting it all the illustrations and images in it. And this is Beyond Esoteric, and Future Esoteric is also in a hardcover and soft cover in Bulgaria. So I just find this stuff fascinating, Don. And I did travel writing for a number of years. And then around the year 2000, with the advent of the internet, it started to really affect travel book publishing. And so I was just having an existential crisis. What am I going to do if I want to stay in publishing and be an author? I need to find subjects. Well, one that I'm very passionate about, but also two that would be beneficial to be in book format. And with my distributor, who I'm still with, Independent Publishers Group, could get it out to a mass audience. Because I feel like people really have a right to know this stuff. Just like we were talking about geoengineering and Morgellons. These are esoteric subjects. This is what has been withheld from humanity for a very long time. In fact, the nature of the word esoteric means that it's known by a select few. And that has changed, because we all have a right to know this stuff. And so that's the other reason I got into writing this esoteric series of books. And there's 3 already published: Modern Esoteric, Future Esoteric, and Beyond Esoteric. And now I'm coming out with Secrets of Antarctica, the untold history of the ice continent. And that'll be out at the end of the year. But it's also in the esoteric subject matter. And as you may know, I went down there about 7 years ago. And so a lot of pretty cool findings down there, but also a lot more research that I've done since is showing me that Antarctica is the strangest place on planet Earth. And it could also very well lead to the disclosure of extraterrestrial presence on this planet. I really do think that Antarctica has it all. And the tagline on the back of the new book says, "All roads lead to Antarctica," even though no roads lead to Antarctica, but all roads in the disclosure movement lead there.
Yeah.
It's a road you're going to be swimming on.
My wife just pointed out that your books are also available on Audible, which is how I'll probably be taking them in, because I drive and work, and that's just the easiest way to do it, because I don't have time to sit and read a book anymore because of the 9-to-5 reality that I have to live. You touched on the interest of the esoteric, and there's one of those questions that I ask almost everybody is, what was that moment or moments, that your burning bush moment, your moment of realization that, like, not everything that we've been told by the educational system or, spoon fed by the media or what have you, is anywhere near what's actually going on. Like, what was that catalyst that really shifted your view on reality?
Well, it all started when I traveled around the world in my 20s. I'm now almost about to turn 60. So I've really been traveling my entire adult life for 40 years, and getting to Egypt and in Europe and having past life recalls and realizing, wow, there's a lot more to this. And then seeing the megalithic architecture around the world tipped me off that there's a lot that we have not been told. So that just expanded as I traveled more and got to visit a lot of these locations, and just, again, accumulating information. That's what I do. That's my curiosity. That's my research arm of learning about the true history of this planet and all that's been done. So my next book is going to be called Underwater Archaeology. That'll be out in about 2 years, but I'm working on it already. And how do you build megalithic architecture under the water? I don't know that's possible. So it's proof that there had been antediluvian high-tech civilizations on this planet, and we're not being told about it in our history books.
No. You mentioned your upcoming book about the Arctic, and you had actually sent me some images, and this is where I'm going to kind of let Michelle take over. And if you want to lead us through what the images are, and then she can follow up. I find some of this fascinating, and I did catch your interview on Typical Skeptic, so I know a lot of what these are. So this is just amazing information that you've put together, and you are just a wonderful researcher, by the way, sir.
Oh, thank you, Don. Yeah, I'd be happy to narrate the slides. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I actually found him about 6 years ago on Gaia. You had done an interview about fallen angels under the ice, and I did see the interview. That's my friend Rob, Typical Skeptic, and so I was the one in the audience, like, please ask this question. I have waited almost better part of a decade to ask it, but they had taken that interview down off Gaia. Like, I've looked for it for years, because that was kind of what started like making me look at Antarctica, was that. And I can't believe you're about to, so that would be like your 12th book, actually. That's going to be 2 years from now, right? Because the 11th one's this year, and then the 12th one would be that's amazing that you've managed to do all of that, and all on such broad topics that you've really dived deep on. So sorry to fangirl out here a little bit. You're the reason why I've become a researcher, and I never thought I'd be on a podcast doing this at all, but it was actually my friend Renetta Jones that brought me into this community. And I know you had done podcasts with her, and unfortunately she did pass in April. And those that are close to her, we all believe that we knew that she wasn't sick. She was vibrant. She was healthy. We think that it was targeting of frequencies. And so that was enough for me to just be like, you know what? I don't care about the stage fright. I don't need to be an independent researcher, isolated anymore. Like, I'm going to use this big mouth of mine, and I'm going to tell everybody what happened. So, and now here we are, right? Sorry, Don, I didn't mean to cut you off from the slides. Go right on ahead.
No, I get it. Like, you've heard my story. I fell ass backwards into this because I had a spiritual awakening, and I figured a podcast is the best way to ask people the questions that I had, and other people might have them too. So it's just kind of all gelled, and I'm glad both of you are here. So thank you both.
Very cool. Absolutely.
All right. Go right on ahead, Brad.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you guys brought that up, because each and every one of us is on an individual quest. Whether the subjects that we're talking about here are of interest to you, or just what is the meaning of life, really. So, but again, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So these esoteric subjects, or the material that we're talking about tonight, it really has to be a personal quest. It has to be a yearning to learn and understand what this is all about, because we live in a very complex world, shall we say, but also that so much has been withheld from us, but it's also a prison planet. It's a spiritual prison. Not to say that this isn't a beautiful planet, because it is, but there are many traps. There are soul traps here, and we're all being tested for our karma as well. And if you want to be a human again, so be it. If you want to get out of here, you should start probably trying to understand what the meaning of life is. Why are you here? What's your purpose? And I think every single one of us has a purpose. It's just up to each one of us to find out what it is. What is our strong point? Mine, researching, writing, speaking at conferences, doing production work. So when you find your happy spot where hopefully you can do what you love and actually make a living at it, then you start to self-actualize. And that's what it means to be human. It's that top of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And the very top is to self-actualize, or as the Buddha said, to become enlightened. I don't claim to be either one yet, but I strive to do that. I want to learn. I want to know all these superhuman abilities that we have the potential to understand and grasp, to have that Kundalini moment when the serpent goes through your chakras and up out to the top of your head and you become enlightened like the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree. This is possible. These have been goals of humans, monks and priests and holy men for thousands of years. And now we're at a very advantaged period of time because we have the internet. So you can look up just about anything you want, but there's still a lot of lies and BS out there too. So I like the saying that we're drowning in information, but we're starved for knowledge. And so it's really a quest for knowledge. What is really going to gel with you and the way you think, your cosmology in the world. And the other part of it, Don, was when you asked what got me into this, it's also UFOs and the whole extraterrestrials on this planet. I don't think they're coming from far, far away. I think they're already here, and they've been here for a very long time. So that's another thing that we have to factor in. It's like the great Bill Cooper said at his UFO Congress video in 1989, you put the aliens in the middle of this stuff and you get all the answers. It's really true, because if you don't factor it in, you're missing a big part of this whole earthly human experience that we're all going through at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've been having interactions since I was at least 5 years old. So I get it. But so I'm going to start pulling up the slides here. And if you want to walk us through each one is, and then if Michelle, if you have anything to follow, or we can just narrate through them and pause for questions, I guess.
I'm going to be quiet or else we'll never get the slides started. You have the floor, Brad.
Fire them up.
Okay, can you see the overlay there? Or?
I do not.
Oh dear, why is that not coming out?
I only see me, and you guys are both blacked out.
Oh, I see myself at the bottom now. Okay, so I see a picture of like a ship or something in the ice, or it's so zoomed in, I'm not sure. And actually, I do remote viewing, so I can see the energetic overlay. So right now I see a big face on the screen, and I see it now. That.
Yeah, this is just one of half a dozen very interesting Google Earth shots that I've located. And this one in particular, they had me on a TV show called The Truth Is Out There. And this is the slide they showed. And so I'm just kind of describing it. Looks like a disc, maybe a shadow below it. It's kind of tucked into the rock there. And then they put on a skeptic who's like, well, Brad Olsen says, and well, we think that it's just a factor of light and maybe it's just a rock formation. It's like, all right,
my gosh,
got to make me look like the conspiracy theorists all the time, but I guess that comes with the territory.
We'll get you a tinfoil hat. We're gonna start merching them. It can be in our club.
A lot.
Right. I love when people bring you on just to try to debunk you, or just, well, I'll call it what it is, to try and talk shit about what you're talking about. And it never ceases to make me just shake my head and go, okay, like, did you bring me on to argue? Well, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a healthy debate. If you can do it, well, hey, let's share information. Show me what you got. I'll tell you what I got, and let's compare notes. That's what researcher and the scientific method is all about. Exactly. When you start calling names or titles or labels, you lose me. Then you're not really trying to find out what I know, what you can tell me that I don't know, because I do want to know. I'm very curious. If something contradicts what I think I know or the information I have, I want to know about it. And I can admit I'm wrong if I don't get something right. So
absolutely. Our producer introduced me to, like, at Forbidden Knowledge, introduced me to a wonderful phrase that I have quite liberally hijacked. It is my current understanding.
There we go.
Because I do not have a belief system, because belief turns into dogma, turns into indoctrination, turns into blah, 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 blah. So no, I have a current understanding, and this is what I currently understand. And that's as far into it as I get.
Yep.
I think people can also tell too, you know, they always say that gut feeling, right? Like I've noticed the truth, it resonates like in my stomach. Like I can tell when I'm being BS'd, and I can tell as far outlandish as something might seem, I know when I'm being told the truth because it just fits, you know, it hits a little different. I think people are finally at the point they're just over being lied to.
Yeah. So what is this map one here, Brad?
Next slide.
Yeah.
The Southern Ocean with them.
Huh,
oh wait, it just changed. Oh, that's a beautiful picture. You sailed to all the continents too, didn't you?
You're still just
all 7 continents. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Sailed to Antarctica.
So you did find the roads.
Yeah, the sea roads, and that actually is a sailor's term. In fact, there's the capital of the British Virgin Island is called Road Town, and I've been there. My dad had a sailboat. We cast ashore in Road Town, and I asked around. I said, "What does that mean?" They said, "Well, that was what the sailors would call the seaways or safe harbors. Were roads."
Huh.
So sea roads
Shipping
all
lanes,
lead to
right?
Antarctica.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Are you able to see it yet, Brad?
So for some reason, I'm still on the UFO disc.
Oh,
weird. That's.
But why don't you describe the picture, and I'll probably know what it is.
Okay.
It's a water shot, and it looks like mountains upcropping, snow-capped mountains upcropping from the water. And
yeah, you're definitely in the water. It looks, if we could see like your camera set up on your like starboard side of your boat is what it looks like.
Oh, okay. And we're coming into a harbor,
yeah,
through a rocky area. Yeah, that's Deception Island. That's a very famous location for UFOs coming up out of the caldera of the volcano.
really.
And there's so many volcanic like activities down there. I mean, I know they're happening a lot more frequently everywhere right now, but I don't think most people realize that all the activity in Antarctica, just because there's like ice and snow and it's cold down there, there's even like a lake of lava, I believe.
There is only one of 2 in the world, and one of them is Mount Erebus in Antarctica. The other is in Africa, that maintains a lake of lava the whole time.
I think they're trying to tell us something when they say cold as hell.
Yeah. Question from the audience from Jason H. I'm curious what other sites Brad would still like to travel to.
Well, I've only done Egypt and Africa. So that's a big ass continent, second largest in the world. I would like to go down to South Africa and also out to the great Zimbabwe and meet up with my friend and colleague Michael Tellinger and go see the Adams Calendar, which is one of the oldest stone circles in the world. And boy, so much more in Africa you could see. Go on a safari, maybe climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and that would be next on my bucket list, I would say.
You can take us in your suitcase if you have room. We wouldn't mind going for that trip either. It sounds amazing.
Just throw you over my shoulder in a rucksack.
I didn't bring any clothes, but I brought these people with me.
So. My dirty laundry. What?
Hey, I'm only 5'5", so that might work.
You are such a liar. You're not 5'5". I'm almost 5'7", and he's taller than me, Brad. Don't listen to him. Okay, so this picture is definitely, we can see off your sailboat. We can see the sail like on the port side, and then there's like a plateau coming up out of the water that's on the starboard side across of it, and then on the, I guess, sorry, the port side would have like snow caps across. It's like a waterway going through the cut of the mountains.
Yeah, Yeah, that's called Neptune's Bellows, named by the whalers and sealers of the 19th century because the wind blows through there. But that's an actual active volcanic caldera. And there are several live bases within Deception Island. And we saw the lights on in the distance. We went in there in the daytime, dropped anchor, and saw the lights of the bases within that protected harbor. And then the next day went ashore, and there were hot springs there. And had the tide not been coming in, could have just stripped down and taken a hot tub right there in Deception Island. So it was a really cool place. And we saw some old whaling processing plants where they would pull the whales up and then get the blubber out to export and discard the bones and stuff. So it's kind of a sad scene of what humans did to the whales and seals down there. But they are bouncing back. The seal population is back to what it had been when the hunt started in 1820. So about 200 years, well, not quite, because they paused it 50 years ago. But for about 150 years, they were heavily hunted down there. Now the whales have come back, but not as much as the seals. They still, because it takes about 2 years for a female gestation to have a baby whale. And especially the blue whales, which are the largest mammals on the planet, they nearly got hunted to extinction. Had it not been for one pod of seals blue whales way off where they couldn't be hunted, they'd have been gone, and extinction is forever. So there's a dark side to Antarctica too, and also an exploitation side. And so that's why the Antarctica Treaty is so valuable, because
is this
it has
where the whale sanctuary is? Like, because I know that they use like a loophole with like the IWC, that they allow a certain amount to be taken for scientific research, but it's all under the guise that Japan sends their ships down there. And I used to watch Whale Wars like back in the day. And so I know that there was a restaurant in Santa Monica called The Hump, and they had whale end up on the menu there, on the black menu. And it basically was DNA tested, and it had just come from the most recent whaling season. So it's obviously not about research. It's about sushi. So I was wondering, is that where they say that it's like it happens in a whale sanctuary, like a whale breeding area, basically?
Yeah, they're probably getting right up to the 60 degrees south parallel, where everything below 60 degrees all the way to 90 degrees south, where the South Pole is all protected under the Antarctica Treaty. But there is a moratorium on whaling, but the Japanese have a workaround. They say it's for scientific reasons, but yeah, then it ends up on the supermarket shelves and in restaurants. So they're not
it's
really too
that makes me sad.
Honest with that. Yeah.
Okay, let's see here. We're gonna do charades next. So this looks like a snow cap. It has Yamato in the top right hand corner, and then it has like a trail of dots with lines coming off of it with abbreviations. So I see like PAT, PCA, LAP. That's at the top. At the bottom, it has like DAV, OTT.
It's a map.
It looks like it looks like it's snow covered, but it like the overlay looks like kind of like a map with the dots and the like labeling. I don't know. What do you think? What do you see, Dawn, when you look into the ice?
It kind of looks like an overview of the Arctic, actually.
I don't know. Is this the one that was supposed to be the base, maybe?
Okay. We'll go ahead to the next one and see what.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one is, it looks like it's computer generated. It says ice covering Antarctica, continent with subglacial lakes and rivers. The ice is 2,000 meters thick, 2,000 miles thick. Is it meters or miles? Okay, 1.2 miles. Sorry. And then it has Lake Vostok there with like the line coming off of it.
Yeah, that one's fascinating because it shows you the lakes and the rivers below the ice. So there's a whole ecosystem down there. And I have it written up in my book, not one, but 3 different studies of scans that have taken place in Western and Eastern Antarctica.
Oh, he dropped off again.
Oh no.
Western and Eastern Antarctica is where he was at.
Yeah, you're breaking up too, Don.
Wow.
I'm
I
just
hope it's
fascinated. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't be the one to read. I cannot barely see the screen.
no, it's cool because you're doing a wonderful job narrating, and it's going to allow like the listeners when this goes over to audio to understand what the hell we're talking about. But this is actually working out very well.
Oh yeah, if it's just audio, then it would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're back. Yay.
And we got Brad back. So
you make quite the entrance.
So the map just basically shows the 2 miles of ice with a whole bunch of lakes and rivers that flow out, because Antarctica is the most geothermically active continent in the world. There's 91 known geothermal vents and volcanoes that will heat up the ice from below. So you have the propensity for very large under ice domes that are created from this geothermal heat, which could house foreign life as we know it, new species that have yet to be discovered. So it's really exciting, the new research where they're scanning the whole polar plateau, much as they've just done over the Giza Plateau in Egypt, where they're finding a whole underground city basically below the pyramids. So it's a very exciting time with new technology to start understanding the underworld layers.
Yeah, I thought that was so fascinating. It made me think of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, where he talks about like the ship that is going to be the ultimate like weapon to defend yourself with is like underneath those pyramids. And then you find out that it goes for miles underneath there. I mean,
Yeah, in a while.
yeah, I hope you're good. You're good at flying a ship because it's going to be difficult to get it out. I can't believe they even released that to the public. It seems like, oh, what's his name? Zahi Hawass. I think that's how you say it. He's been such a gatekeeper on that information. It seems like even Graham Hancock, every time somebody tries to get in there to look at something, they totally sidetrack them or, basically escort them out of the country and they're not allowed to come back or release the footage.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. There has been so much information that has been kept from humanity that it's wrong. We have a right to know. We're all adults. We can handle the truth here. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. I think this is where the disclosure is happening. It seems like I watched the UFO hearings and I'm like, it's like such a dog and pony show. There's way more going on and way more information being released on Gaia and coast to coast than there is, at this televised worldwide Congress hearing. I mean, it's a joke. They're like, we don't know where they're coming from. We're just back engineering them ourselves.
Yeah. Well, even when they held that congressional hearing and flat out said UFOs are real, the consensus of the populace seemed to be meh. Like nobody gave a shit. Like I watched it and I'm like, they just admitted it. And nobody ran screaming into the streets that UFOs are real. Everybody just sort of went, oh, okay. Like that's how disconnected they have humanity. They can flat out tell you that these things are real, and people just go, oh, okay. Government says it's okay, it's fine. Like,
yeah. My dad's one of those. He's like, oh, the people can't handle it. I'm like, more people believe than not. I think we can handle it. It's if you give us the truth. But we've had to come together like grassroots to bring and weed the truth out, because obviously they're cherry picking and they only release it if they get caught, and not even then. They'll create a whole diversion or a story. It's a weather balloon.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see here. This one is it looks like it was taken up high, and looking down there's like some little wood shacks, and across is the water, and like snow peaked across. I don't know if it's an island, but they look like little mountains. It looks like the picture was taken up really high.
Yeah, it's probably one of my shots down there at can you see a research station down there and maybe a boat off in the distance?
Yes, That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's one of my shots.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, that's when it was really nice weather. In fact, it was warm enough, even though there was penguins swimming by and icebergs floating by to jump in and do the polar plunge. And I did it on 3 different times during my trip, including this day when the sun came out and it was warm enough to even sit on the deck in our bathing suits. So there are some times when the weather's okay, but other times when it was really nasty.
That's how Oklahoma was. They're like, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change.
Yeah.
All right, Don, you can describe this one because I'm not sure.
It kind of looks like a fossilization. It looks like there's a spine in rock.
Oh, what are those called?
I would guess it's some type of sea creature fossilized.
Yeah, I took that picture at the Palmer base, and it is a model cast of a plesiosaur, which is basically what the Loch Ness monster is supposed to be. But they're real dinosaurs that lived in the ocean, this being one of them, and they found these plesiosaur fossils not too far away from the Palmer base that we visited.
That's amazing.
So I know you got to go soon. I just want to jump ahead here because this is like, I read a lot when I was younger about Admiral Byrd and the whole hollow earth thing. And I want to hit on that before you get going, if we can really quick.
Sure,
so
go for it. Yeah.
I'm going to skip ahead. And what we have here is the German South Pole logo. I was just wondering if you can tell everybody what that is.
I wonder if that's their seal.
Yeah, so the Germans set up a colony and a science city and a military base in New Schwabenland starting in 1938. But throughout the entire duration of World War II, they were sending down supply ships and U-boats with personnel and supplies and machinery. And basically, the Germans knew, at least the high command knew, that they were going to lose the war all the way in 1943. So then they stepped it up and really started shipping a lot of personnel and materiel down there, including in 1945, the year World War II ended in May. They made more U-boats, submarines, than any other time in the war. And over 100 of them still have no idea where they ended up, where they disappeared to. So a lot of questions about Operation High Jump, which was Admiral Byrd going down there with an armada of ships to specifically hunt out Base 211, their military base. And then there was the Battle of Antarctica, which only lasted 20 minutes. And it was basically UFO craft coming up out of the water and attacking the Central Fleet of Operation High Jump. And Admiral Byrd witnessed the whole thing and called off Operation High Jump 2 months into the 6-month expedition. So basically, the Allies got their ass handed to them and retreated hastily. And on the way back, Admiral Byrd gave an interview with El Mercurio newspaper, and he said that we would be confronted with an enemy that had the power to travel pole to pole at incredible speeds.
We're seeing those He called it, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you've ever found Admiral Byrd's son found Admiral Byrd's diary allegedly, and he went into far more detail than whatever was publicly released, and it is just astounding. And if you can find that on the internet before they scrub it, I would highly suggest it.
Yeah, and I've read it too, and I excerpt it in my new book. And what's also interesting is that the Sun published it after Admiral Byrd died, at very untimely death. He was in great shape. He should not have died at the age he was. But he was starting to become a little loose with his veiled comments about Antarctica. And in the Long Jeans interview, he says he has seen the land beyond the poles. Well, there's not supposed to be any land beyond the poles. It's one big solid slab of ice. So what's he talking about? So I think he basically was taken out. because they knew he'd already spilled the beans with El Mercurio newspaper, and so the son got the diary, and then he published it, and his son died under very mysterious circumstances as well. So there's been a concerted cover up on all things Antarctica.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like what's his name, Admiral Forrester, the one that was at Bethesda
Forrestal,
Hospital.
yeah.
I can never say that right.
James Forrestal.
Forrestal, thank you, Forrestal. Yes, and the one that was supposed to be released from the hospital, and then he found his untimely demise at the bottom of however many stories up his room was.
Yeah, that's right, Michelle, because he was the first to meet Admiral Byrd when he came back after high jump, and they put Byrd into quarantine and then intense interrogation. And Forrestal was a very good friend of his and was the one that was basically standing up for him. And it was said that Forrestal was walking the halls of the Pentagon bemoaning this threat from Antarctica, and he had to be shut up too. So they committed him to Bethesda Military Hospital, and then he was suicided out the top floor of the Bethesda Hospital and fell crashing down to his death. And it said that James Forrestal is the first casualty of the UFO cover-up, because all roads lead to Antarctica, and that is why all roads lead there, right? And I am very familiar with Linda Moulton Howe, and she turned me on to Brian S., and I had about an hour conversation with him, and they're both amazing people. Brian S. has an eyewitness description of the hole in the ice near the South Pole, where there's a no-fly zone, where other researchers have also said that there is this just giant gaping hole. As I said, that there's heat coming from below with all the geothermal activity. So naturally, there have to be chimneys to release this hot air coming out. And South Pole is not the only one. There are several, but this is the most famous one because it's the one that Admiral Byrd discovered. He did the flyover in 1929, was the first aviator over the South Pole. And I reprint the route map of his first flight. And he went beyond the pole. He didn't have to. He could have just done a circle around the pole and then head right back to Little America. But he went out of his way by a good 7,500 miles right into the no-fly zone that exists there today, where Brian S. said, X marks the spot. This is where we saw the hole in the ice. All connect the same location. And that's why the National Science Foundation is down in Antarctica, because they protect all things extraterrestrial related. And they have an unmarked building at McMurdo, and they've been seen out at the South Pole Station. So if anybody gets close, like Brian S., when they came back from their flight, they had to do an emergency evacuation and decided to go through the no-fly zone, and that's where they saw the hole. And Brian S. told me the whole cover story of an air sampling station is totally BS, because they saw no such weather station when they flew over. But they did see the hole. And the hole, this I thought was super interesting, has snowmobile tracks and cat tracks, the basic snow cats that you see grooming ski mountains, heading out towards the hole. And then at the hole, there's a road that corkscrews down below as far as he could see. So you could actually travel by vehicle or snowmobile down there.
It's like the Dr. Seuss route.
Yeah.
That's insane. I love Linda Moulton Howe's. She's a really good journalist, and I've listened to all of her stories, I think, just about. But that's the one with the cook. There had been like a kitchen fire. He was injured, and that's why they wanted to go through the no-fly zone, right? It was like a medical emergency.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't remember if that's the story where that was a different story where they dropped the scientist off for like a week and they were gone 2 weeks. And when they brought him back, they were like not speaking, and they were picked up by a bunch of suits when they got back to the airport or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I know you have to get going, Brad, and I don't want to keep you. Do you want to tell everybody when your book is coming out and where they can get a hold of it and how quick it'll be on Audible so my dumbass can listen to it? And yeah, where else everybody can find you?
Yeah, I'm going to read it myself like I did for Modern Esoteric and Future Esoteric, are read by the author. And you can go on Amazon and hear those. You can also pre-order Secrets of Antarctica now on Amazon. Or you can go to cccpublishing.com. That's our publishing website, and it will be up there as soon as I get the advanced copies in December. But I don't want to put it up now because I'll just have a whole bunch of back orders. But yeah, CCC Publishing is the website, and that's also other authors such as Laura Eisenhower, Michael Jaco, Leo Lyons-Zagami, and all of my books are on there too, as well as other authors. So you check that out. There's a link off of bradolsen.com I see coming on the ticker tape. And yeah, you got it. CCC Publishing. That's it.
That is absolutely awesome, Brad. Michelle, do you want to tell everybody where to get a hold of you and where to find your content?
Yeah, well, we're going to be starting a show on the 4th of the month, Dawn and I. So we've got that coming up soon. But you can find me on YouTube. I'm the Earth Grid Rescue Mission. And that's where I do my social media as of now, hopefully branching out soon in the future. But for now, that's where you can find me.
Okay. And I want to thank everybody that showed up in the chat. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Weather happens. And I'm sure I would love to have Brad on again. And I'm sure Michelle would love to have Brad on in a future conversation if possible, because I know it kind of got cut short because of the technical difficulties.
But, yeah, you bet, guys. And sorry about that on my end. We'll definitely do it again. And it was a real pleasure speaking with you both. You both had great questions, and really enjoyed having this conversation with you today.
That's awesome. Thank you.
And for everybody else watching at home, like I always say, if you can go outside, please do, because it's a lot better than sitting in front of this screen. Love you guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night, everybody.